Now, have you ever been there doing some study, and you're working through it, you're working through your study, and then you're just like, that's it, I've had it, I'm taking a break, screw this. And then 2 hours later, your desk still looks exactly like this. You haven't come back from study. So we all have this happen, right? We all take a break when stuff's getting hard and we're distracted and we're bored. We take a break, but the real problem is we often never come back, or we take freaking ages on our breaks that when we come back, we're just not into it anymore. So what we've got to look at is really how long should you be taking breaks for, and how can you structure them effectively so they do the job they need to while helping you get effective study done. Let's jump in and find out. Let's take basketball for an analogy. If you were playing a basketball game, and you're playing and then all of a sudden you get tired, could you just, walk off the court and go, you know what, I'm done guys, I'm gonna take a break? Of course not. Just even saying that seems ridiculous, doesn't it? That you could just walk off in the middle of a game as soon as you feel tired. But let's be honest, that's exactly what you're doing every time you're studying and you take a break whenever you feel like it. You're walking off the court middle of the game. And so what we've really got to think about, just like in sport, right? We've got to think about what's the purpose of a break? What's the goal? And so, is the break that you would take from studying or even for sport, is it to relax? And no, it's not, right? The point of a break isn't to relax. That's what you do when you finish playing a game or you finish studying. The point of a break when you're playing basketball or any sport, and particularly when you're studying, is all about re-energizing. It's about refreshing so that you've got the energy to go hard again when you go back onto the court and you continue. So we've got to understand that the point of a break for sport and for anything physical, but also for mental, for study, is about refreshing and re-energizing. So then this means that we need to think carefully about, well, what does a break actually look like? How can we best use it? And that's pretty simple, right? Because think about it, when you're playing basketball, you're shooting, your body's getting hot, I just missed that, as always. Your body's heating up, right? And so then when you've finished and you have a quick break, what happens to your body? Your body starts to cool down again. And if you spend too long on a break, your body completely cools down. And so when you try to get back in, you're really tight, you're sore, you can't get the energy back, and you go, stuff it, I'm done. Same thing for your study, right? If you take a huge study break, you're out there, you're chilling, you're eating food, you're watching Netflix, you're watching YouTube, you're hanging out with friends, your brain is mentally cooling down. It's turning off, and so it's so much harder for you to get back into that study routine. So the key thing here, therefore, guys, is when you think about your study breaks, I want you to realize that the longer the break you take, you're mentally cooling down, and that's going to make it even harder for you to come back and actually get into your study. So there's a couple of guidelines I have for you as a result to help you structure your study effectively using these principles in mind. So we need to think about how to structure your break, and it's quite simple. We can look at sport and look at the principles from sport and how they structure breaks. The first principle is that typically, a half-time break, a quarter-time break for sport is pretty short. It's 5-10 minutes maximum. And that's because any longer than 10 minutes, your body cools down. Similarly, any longer than 10 minutes, mentally you start cooling down and turning off. So my first suggestion is you want to aim for a 5 to 10 minute break. Nothing more than that. Just enough so that you can refresh and re-energize to go back hard again, and not too long that you switch off entirely and don't come back. So that's the first thing. The second suggestion around how you structure your breaks is that, once again, with sport, there's a half-time break. At a certain point you're going to be taking a break. So even if you're exhausted and you're tired and you're like, I'm just struggling, I've just got to push it. Keep on going, another 2 minutes, and there's a break. Same thing for your study. You shouldn't be taking a break when you feel like it, because let's be honest, that could be 10, 15, 20 minutes into a study session. Instead, you should have a half-time break, a time that you've defined in advance for when you're going to take a study break. So if you're doing 2 hours of study, You know, do an hour, take a 5-minute break. Do another 55, you're done. Half-time break, right? So nice and simple, 2 simple strategies. 1, 5 to 10 minute break times, no longer, so that you don't mentally cool down. And number 2, plan when you're going to have your break time. Treat it like a half-time break that would exist if you were playing any form of sport. So that's it, guys. A couple of simple suggestions to help you make more effective use of breaks. If you have any other questions about how to use your break times, leave them in the comments below and we'll help you. I'd love to also find out how you're going to structure your breaks, so leave in the comments how long you're going to have your breaks and when you're going to set your half-time break times for. And of course, finally, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We're doing videos every single week, so I will see you next week.